This is a time, if our government was in, that mill would have been built simultaneously along with St. John and all the other projects. Each day in the legislature, we hear about how we're so much, friends of big business. We'll see who's a friend of big business. Premier's on the hot seat right now, and I want to see what he's going to do to this company that's trying to break their deal. They need to keep their commitment. It's important that the Premier hold them to that.
You had said in the past that you supported the forestry plan when the PCs were in office largely because of the benefit to Doaktown. So what do you think now?
I think that the government had a chance to scrap the forestry plan, and they had everybody believe they were potentially going to do that. They didn't bother. So the forestry plan has this agreement in it. What I believe is if we were in government, it would be being built. So the onus right now is on the Premier. He's been accusing us of being a friend of big business every day, accusing the leader of such. This is his chance to stick it to big business for the benefit of the people in Doaktown and Miramichi who've been getting the shaft on forestry for more than 10 or 15 years now. This is his opportunity to stick it to that company for the betterment of that project, which is a commitment made by this company.
What can he do? I mean, the agreement allows for market conditions to change things, and they're saying there are market conditions that have changed things.
Number one, what was DNR doing? What has the Department of Natural Resources been doing about Kim McPherson's report? What were they doing? I mean, that report is 2 years old plus. Every so many years, there's going to be another agreement come out with free trade. They know this happens every so often. What were they doing? I think the company is using this as a way out to not keep their commitment. And they did apply for an exemption, and I think they went as low as 3.5%, maybe now they're at 9 or 10. They still got a better deal than everybody else in the province of New Brunswick. The Premier has to hold this company to their end of the deal, or he's the big friend of big business, isn't he?
When you're talking about Kim McPherson's report, are you talking about the fact that the U.S. used it to say that the industry is subsidized, or what are you referencing exactly?
Absolutely. She did a report and made concerns about how forestry is handled in the province of New Brunswick. That's more than 2 years old. This NAFTA agreement is coming every so often. It's coming. The province. What was the Department of Natural Resources doing? Like today, I can't sit here and blame this mill not being built on free trade or the forestry plan. The blame is on the province of New Brunswick, on the Premier of this province, and the Minister of DNR for doing nothing. And now they have this onus. Look at Doaktown. Can you imagine Doaktown without a mill? They have 2 mills. They feed together. The entire community and the entire basin surrounding this community is firmly supported by the employment based on the JDI mills. So are they important? They're vital. And another thing, the JDI gave their word to the mayor of Doaktown. I believe you reported on that in a story maybe 6 months ago, give or take. He committed. He needs to get on the phone and call the mayor. The mayor needs to be calling him too. He was given his word. I was given my word. There was a contract made. It was signed. The company made a commitment. The onus is on the Premier of New Brunswick to stick it to the company to ensure that they hold up their end of the bargain.
Just recap for us, what do you want JDI to do?
I want JDI to commit to their project and start construction in Doaktown once they can do that. That's what I want. That's what the people want. That's why the forestry plan had things in it that some of us liked. There was a lot in it. Every plan you make in government is not perfect. But if the community of Doaktown manages to get longevity for another 30 or 40 years based on 2 mill properties, it doesn't matter to me who owns them. That's great for the community. The important thing is the commitment is kept and the Premier holds them to that commitment.
What has JDI told you? I take it you've been interacting with them.
I haven't spoken to the company in at least a year, give or take. I mean, we tried to do interviews with them at one point. There were press releases I asked them questions on behalf of the community and they put out a press release, but each press release always indicated that they were building the mill. They always knew the tariff was coming. We've known for a while now what this tariff means. I just don't think it's fair that this company not hold up their end of the bargain, despite any market conditions. And I think the Premier of New Brunswick has tried to separate himself from our leader by telling New Brunswickers that Blaine Higgs is a friend of big business. Well, if Premier Gallant wants to prove that he isn't, then I'll be getting my mill in Doaktown, won't I?
What will that new mill mean for your community?
it'll mean about anywhere from 30 to 40 years of longevity. The mill that's there now was built in the 50s, so it's been built onto time and time again. It just needs a complete, rebuild. And it'll mean that the pine mill will have security as well. It'll be great for Doaktown. Trust me, that'll be the best thing that's ever happened up there. I fully support building the new mill, but they need to keep their commitment. That's one of the problems in this province that we've had over the years. We don't always hold big corporate people to their end of the bargain, and we need to start doing that. And the Premier needs to do that right now, because he tried to separate himself. So I want him to ensure that that mill will be built for the people of Doaktown.